COVID-19 has been one of the most, if not the most significant events that has happened in our world in the 21st centuries. And even though the situations that we have for each of us might vary slightly, most of us have had the experience of lockdown, isolations, and pullback in our personal life progressions, accompanied by the feelings of anxieties and worries for a less bright future as the days goes by. But here's a thought. The COVID pandemic was meant to happen, and in a way it was necessary, not because it causes deaths and illnesses, but because it exposed much of the issues that we have in our world today, both on a personal level and on a societal level. And it was certainly a catalyst that raises the criticalness of these problems that are unresolved or seems to often ignored by the mass. And because of this environment, it has been a perfect breeding ground for COVID-19 to become so serious and elevate its effects, especially at the beginning of the pandemic when we have mass panic and anxiety from the public. The pandemic is necessary in a sense that it gives us insights into our environments and our surroundings and help us realize that our lives, our societies are much more fragile than we think, because this could have been a much worse situation with a disease that is more infectious and more lethal, more deadly, and can cause more damage to our economy and taking more lives of even young and healthy people. So this certainly is a wake-up call for individuals, citizens, businesses, and governments, because much of the response that we have had are very poor, and worse, the preparations before the crisis happened was little to none. And this is not acceptable, because situations like this can happen again in the future. The effects of COVID-19 is bad. But remember, it could have been far worse. And we need to do a better job, because the lack of preparations that we have seen today reflects a prevailing health and financial crisis that is happening all over the world, even in developed countries such as the United States. There's simply not enough public health awareness. Overwhelming of the people in the United States are either overweight or obese. Most people are deficient in vitamin D, which is the source of an unhealthy immunity. Overwhelming people are stressed and anxious today, and there's not enough emphasis on sleeping, on taking care of oneself through diets, exercise, and healthy lifestyle, which are all critical factors that contribute to a reduction to the seriousness of an illness and the fatality rate of a disease. These are not talked enough, even during the pandemic. Everything is about isolations, quarantining, putting on masks, but these have no emphasis whatsoever. And this perhaps is the result of the lack of public health and health educations from the governments and societies. But it's also the lack of responsibilities on an individual level when it comes to taking care of oneself during these kind of crises. Why is it only after the crisis that happened people start taking extra caution to their hygiene and physical health? This is just simply a response, not a preparation, and it is not good enough. And the same things go with our finances. There's a clear financial crisis among people, corporations, and nations. People are living paychecks to paychecks, not have enough savings, and are not financially prepared for hard times like this, to sufficiently pay bills, to sufficiently pay rents, to sufficiently operate as companies and businesses, to provide resources to the workers and those who need help the most, and not have to depend on taking massive loans or printing of monies and destroy the economies further with debts. stimulus package will not help you. If you need $1,000 to save your life, then you don't have a life, at least financially. That is what Dave Ramsey said. But the point is that we cannot depend on the governments to come and rescue us. We have to fix our own financial problems, and that requires to sit down and actually do the accounting works, to have a budget, set out emergency funds, and have cash on hands. These are all responsibilities that individuals and organizations need to take. That is all too often being neglected. We cannot expect to come out better of this crisis if we are not well prepared. Just like going to the exams, which often result in us doing crappy and failing the tests. And the last reason why COVID-19 is necessary is because it exposed the political divisions, the conflicting and radical ideas that we see through the lens of social medias and large news outlets. That everything is being sensational, clickbaity, over-dramatized, over-emotional, scaring people instead of sticking with hard, true facts and calming people down. Everything is blown out of proportions. Even the cases and the deaths of coronavirus, which play a big part in inflicting fears and panics on the people, which is the worst thing to do during a pandemic. There's almost no considerations when expressing views and opinions to try to gain public favors and political positions that is not rationalized in terms of benefits to anyone but themselves. And we see this with the hypocrisies and contradictions one after another, especially during the situations of lockdown and protest, which I don't necessarily think there is a right or wrong, but it is irrational to see people functioning just to please others, to conform people and create a herd-like mentalities among people. And this is exactly why I create this channel, to promote individual thinking, to create a sense of control and independency in your life. You need to make decisions and own it up with your responsibility, whatever that is, and not get too caught up emotionally or influenced by the words of others that's only ever talk about change rather than being changed themselves. The corona crisis is supposed to be us fighting against a common enemy, but it doesn't seem to be so. Instead, it is a perfect event that further divides us and our views on political, economical, and social issues. We need to stop viewing each other as obstacles and be more considerate, more tolerant, more understanding to bring everyone together and make real progress. We need to come together with less emotions, less hatred, and be more rationalized and present concrete evidence and facts and data that will lead to ideas to resolve issues and to fight against the virus and to better prepare for future incidents. The next wave of coronavirus is coming, and I really hope that we can be more focused and do better in the upcoming periods. Alright, like, comment, subscribe if you see the values in the things that I do. Also, really comments down below and let me know about what you think about these messages. I would really appreciate it. I will catch you guys later. Peace.